This video is brought to you by Devout Decals, makers of reusable Catholic art for your home altar, your bedroom, and your home classroom.
We have an interesting new addition to the We Were Warned series. These are the prophetic writings of Saint Nilus, or Saint Nilus. Not precisely sure how to say his name, but he was a 5th century monastic, though he was married. He's associated, of course, with monasticism, but also with St. John Chrysostom. Saint Nilus of Sinai is his full name. He was an officer of various Roman government offices, including being having an association with the Praetorian Guard, the Court of Constantinople, and a few other important posts. His job was remember, this would have been the Christian era of Rome and post-Roman Empire. So he's a different kind of mystic than we're often used to. But his messages are weirdly prophetic. Let's get right into those messages of St. Nilus of Sinai. After the year 1900, toward the middle of the 20th century, the people of that time will become unrecognizable. When the time for the advent of the Antichrist approaches, people's minds will grow cloudy from carnal passions, and dishonor and lawlessness will grow stronger. Then the world will become unrecognizable. People's appearances will change, and it will be impossible to distinguish men from women due to their shamelessness in dress and style of hair. These people will be cruel and will be like wild animals because of the temptations of the Antichrist. There will be no respect for parents and elders. Love will disappear, and Christian pastors, bishops, and priests will become vain men, completely failing to distinguish the right-hand way from the left. At that time, the morals and traditions of Christians and of the Church will change. People will abandon modesty, and dissipation will reign. Falsehoods and greed will attain great proportions, and woe to those who pile up treasures. Lust, adultery, the James Martin sin, secret deeds, and the ending of life will rule in society. At that future time, due to the power of such great crimes and licentiousness, people will be deprived of the grace of the Holy Spirit, which they received in holy baptism, and equally of remorse. The churches of God will be deprived of God-fearing and pious pastors, and woe to the Christians remaining in the world at that time. They will completely lose their faith because they will lack the opportunity of seeing the light of knowledge from anyone at all. Then they will separate themselves out of the world in holy refuges, in search of lightening their spiritual sufferings, but everywhere they will meet obstacles and constraints, and all this will result from the fact that the Antichrist wants to lord over everything and become the ruler of the whole universe, and he will produce miracles and fantastic signs. He will also give depraved wisdom to an unhappy man so that he will discover a way by which one man can carry on a conversation with another from one end of the earth to the other. At that time, men will also fly through the air like birds and descend to the bottom of the sea like fish. And when they have achieved all this, these unhappy people will spend their lives in comfort without knowing, poor souls, that it is the deceit of the Antichrist. And the impious one, he will so complete science with vanity that it will go off the right path and lead people to lose faith in the existence of God in 3 hypostases. Then the all-good God will see the downfall of the human race, and will shorten the days for the sake of those few who are being saved, because the enemy wants to lead even the chosen into temptation, if that is possible. Then the sword of chastisement will suddenly appear and slay the perverter and his servants. That is from the 5th century. Chilling stuff. He predicted that man will have the ability to fly and to swim well below the safe limits of swimming in the sea. That man will have plenty. He predicted advanced technology. Most importantly, he predicted the corruption in the church. Note how those two are linked. It is often said by wiser people than I that that corruption in society is often because of time. It happens in times of plenty, in times of comfort, when the mode of living has become easier. Truly, that is our time compared to the long arc of human history. People in our time have a much better time, a much safer time of living than they have ever had in human history. That is simply undeniable. Compare what he says there to what most people mistakenly call Our Lady of Good Success, at least in the English-speaking world. A better translation from the Spanish would be Our Lady of the Good Event of the Purification. You see the same warning, not so much about the advanced technology, but of comfort, leading to corruption, and the hierarchy being full of vain men who would care more about the comforts of the world and the adoration of the world than they would about their charge of bringing souls to Christ. Note the link between comfort and the corruption of the hierarchy, but also note the link between the corruption of society and the corruption in the hierarchy. After all, where do vocations come from? They come from Catholic families. And if society is so corrupt, so bankrupted, that licentiousness reigns, that immodesty reigns, that people no longer know how to comport themselves at Mass, they no longer know how to dress properly from day to day, that they are given into the sins of the flesh and those temptations, that sins that cry out to heaven for justice are rampant in society. That effect on Catholics will mean that the very best Catholics will probably be raising their children in a mediocre way compared to those who came before. And the consequences on vocations will be catastrophic. There will be a lack of vocations, and those vocations that do happen will often not be from the best. That is where we are. He saw it coming. And what does he say? That it will end when the days will be shortened, when the sort of chastisement will come from God. It doesn't say what the mechanism will be, but note how that also is very close to what Our Lady of Akita said. It was at Akita that we were warned that you'll have bishop opposing bishop. Surely a consequence of that licentiousness and that vanity among the clergy. And it will all be finally done with when fire will fall from the sky. We know from various things that Sister Lucia said involving the Fatima message that Our Lady's arm grows tired from holding back the wrath of her Son. And that it will ultimately be an angel who will sound the trumpet for the chastisement. These are very serious messages. I do intend to do a synthesis at some point of the non-Marian apparitions, these mystics, like St. Nilus and a few others, to give you an idea of what the third secret of Fatima may have been from other approved sources. I already recently did this with the major Marian apparitions that were all warning of various chastisements that were to come. Let me know in the comments if you'd like to see a synthesis of different private revelation, especially towards the what may be coming. So let me know if that sounds good to you, and hit like and subscribe if you haven't. It does help. So to sharing this on social media, that helps too. As always, pray for the church. I'm Anthony Stine. Ave Maria.